Hello, my name is Medium Patricia, and if you happened upon this video, it's just maybe that you needed to hear what I have to say. With all that's going on in the world, all the evilness and anxiety, I'm beginning to notice that especially the young children in between the teen and 30-year-old range are beginning to get so depressed that there's been a lot of suicides and drug overdoses, and it's just getting to an epidemic level, especially in my hometown area. We've lost so many young people in the last few years. It's getting to the point of being scary, and I often wonder why that is. And I've come to the conclusion that since the family unit basically became dysfunctional, with mother and father both having to go to work, no one home to supervise the children, no one home to spend time with them and show them constant love, that these kids are becoming more and more depressed. And I've always been one where, of course, we need money to live, we need jobs, we need income, but I've always put my faith in God. And whatever I ever needed during my lifetime, it's always come to me, because that's what God does. He gives us what we need. It may not be what we hope to have, but I've come to realize that life is not about money. It's about learning, it's about loving, and it's about preparing for heaven. I was fortunate enough to realize at a young age that, when I lived in a big city, I didn't want my children growing up in that atmosphere. And my husband and I were so stressed out from both of us working that we just said, it's not worth it. Money is not worth the stress it causes in life. So we were fortunate enough I was fortunate enough to get a part-time job in a rural area, a very rural area, and we just took the leap of faith and left the big city, left our jobs. I actually transferred, but I took less. I was a full-time position, and I ended up being a part-time position. But in the interim, long story short, my husband and I both worked part-time in the very beginning when our children were very young, and we were able to manage just as well because we lived in a rural area, and things were much cheaper. Houses was cheaper. Land taxes was cheaper. Everything was cheaper than in the big cities. So that leap of faith was probably the best thing we ever did in our life. We didn't worry about what was going to be. We knew God would provide somehow. And as the years went on, my shift at work was a split shift. So it was such that my husband worked early in the day, and he was home by early afternoon. So by the time I went back to work, I had a split shift. By the time I went back to work, he was home. So we only had a few hours in the morning with the kids, or with a babysitter. And when they went to school, one parent was actually home by the time they got home from school. So we were able to spend enormous amounts of time and energy with our children. And I have to say, thank God that both of them turned out to be loving, caring, kind human beings and good parents. And their children are being brought up the same way. I really think that since, I understand that when parents both work, that, you come home from work and you're tired, and you got housework to think about, you got lawns to be mowed, you got all kinds of stuff to do, and it takes away from the family unit and the children. And what they need in life is to be nurtured while they're growing up, while they're small and young, at a young age. The kids today are growing up, they're looking at the world and they're saying, oh my God, what have I got to look forward to? And it's not only the family unit thing. We've created an atmosphere in life where there's so much evil going on, and these kids, they feel it, you know? So the reason I'm making this video is just to put out there, think about your life. See if there's a way that you can rearrange it so that you, or if you can't, at least what time you have with your children, don't let them be on the electronics. Let them know that you care. Do something with them. Nurture them. Teach them. It's just it's a terrible shame that these young kids are checking out so young. I mean, I believe that we all have a departure date when we're born, but some say there's more than one departure date, depending on what you do in life depends on when you go. But I'm not sure about that. I just know that we're born with a date, and when God says it's time to come home, we're going to go home. Because I know a lot of people that have tried through my experiences with reading people and helping them to cope with grief, that some people have tried several times and they keep being sent back, and that's because it's not their time. I want to read to you from a book that I've written. It's called Life is Just a Moment in Time, and it kind of explains some things in life. I'm just going to read a little bit for now, and maybe in the next video I'll read some more. These are all for sale on Amazon, by the way, if you want to check them out. Just search my name, Patricia Giebel, and you will, that's Giebel, and you will be able to find them. This chapter 1 is entitled, What is Life? And a lot of what I've written in my books comes from those on the other side. It's not my own thoughts. I have no professional knowledge of or degrees about life, no psychology degrees. This is just what comes to my mind, like those in spirit when they talk to me. It's the same thing. So I don't know if this is angels talking to me or God himself or what, but what I've written in these books just comes from somewhere that's not me. I'll just put it that way. There are thoughts in my mind that I just am compelled to write down. So the first chapter of this book, Life is Just a Moment in Time, is entitled, What is Life? And I'm not a real good reader, so bear with me. Okay, it starts off with, I wonder how many people living today stop to think about what meaning of life is. Do they ever stop and think, why am I here and what is it I'm supposed to be doing here? I have thought about this a lot throughout my life, and it was not until about the age of 53 that I finally realized my purpose in life. Upon realizing this, I also realized that life on the earthly plane is meant to be a time of learning and preparing us for what lies ahead in the next leg of our journey. In essence, it is just a brief moment in time. You see, heaven does not have time or clocks. It is for eternity, so there is no need for keeping time. So it is logical to say that those souls in heaven, the time they spent on earth seemed like only a moment. Now what is the reason we are spending time on the earthly plane? That is something each person has to figure out for themselves. If we put aside the ego and yearning for material things, we may just find out what that is. For me, although I had always wondered what my purpose is here, I did not seriously try to figure that out until I had dealt with a very harsh and traumatic event in my life. That event was losing the little boy named Bryce, whom I loved so very much. He is my grandson, and he was only 4 when he passed from this life. It was a tremendous feeling of loss and hurt that made me question why I was here, because at the time I felt nothing could ever make me happy again. I felt that this tremendous pain would overtake me in every way, and at first it did. But I also realized something from this, and when the reality of loss became clear, somehow I knew that I had to learn to live with it. I also realized that I could hear my grandson talking to me. I knew he was all right because he told me so. This is when I realized I had been given a gift from God, and I could hear those who had passed. This ultimately became my purpose in life. to help the grieving to know without a doubt that life goes on, just not in the same way as on earth. So you see, what we do here is only a brief experience, and we need to make it count. We need to learn our lessons whatever they may be, so that we can move into the next leg of our journey. Not everyone will have paradise to look forward to. If you are not worthy and do not learn to love, then I would seriously question whether you are ready to be received in heaven. I can only tell you from what I call an unknown source of knowing. I feel like I receive information and knowledge from a source unknown to us as humans. You might ask what I mean by life's lessons. This is something that I will discuss in a later chapter. Right now, we all need to realize how short life really is and how much we have to learn in that short period of time. Take my example, for instance. I did not really begin to figure things out until I was 53 years old. This leaves me precious little time to reinvent myself and make myself worthy of the rewards of heaven. My purpose for writing this book is to help others realize this much earlier in their life than I did. Life is not about making money or how many things we can accumulate. It is about love and peace and becoming able to project that love and peace onto others. It is also about helping others to succeed in finding their life purpose so that they can bring themselves to be peaceful and loving and worthy of God's reward. It is not about trying to change people to think the way we do, but to bring peace and love to this plane and helping each other to discover God's love for all. When God created us, He did not create prejudice or greed or hatred. These are things that we are, as humans, conjured up. If we only achieve peace if only we could achieve peace one person at a time. What I mean by this is if each and every morning a person wakes up, hold on, I messed up. What I mean by this is if each and every person alive worked on themselves to become peaceful and loving, it would take no time at all to bring peace to the world. So I say to all that read this book, try being peaceful for just one day and see how much better you feel. Put aside differences that you may have with others. Forget about your life struggles, because in the long run, they don't mean much. When we have a peaceful mind, we can accomplish so much more and find good solutions for many of life's problems. When we are angry and hurting or just plain on a quest to get everything material we desire, our minds become cloudy and the real purpose we are here becomes lost. I ask you this: would you rather have everything you desire on this physical life journey, which is very limited in time, or would you rather have peace and love and tranquility in the hereafter, which is forever? Just take a moment and seriously think about this. If there's anything material in this life that you have to have so badly that it takes preference over spending eternity in peace, if this is your answer, then yes, I feel sorry for you. God has given us all free will. I think that free will is pretty much the cause of all our problems. It is our free will that gets us into trouble all of the time. I truly believe it is God's way of testing us and watching to see what direction we take with this power of free will. In life, our free will can take us in one of two directions. In a positive direction, we are using our free will to impress our Creator and make Him proud. In a negative direction, we are only catering to the evil forces that exist in this life. Which direction are you going? Because God gave us each free will, we cannot honestly blame anyone for our feelings, especially those of the negative nature, such as hatred, anger, and jealousy. We can be provoked, but how we choose to react is our own free will. Have you ever taken time to think about this? It might be a very good time to do so. As we all know, it is very easy to take the negative direction and so very hard to take the positive one, but the rewards are non-comparable. Believe me, you do not want to find out what happens after life if you take a negative direction. Again, I understand people will ask, how do you know all of this? I can only tell you that I feel it with every fiber of my being. I hear things and feel things, and I am compelled to write it. Honestly, I believe I'm guided from the other side to write. I believe what I write about are things God Himself wants us to know. Now that it is not to say God Himself speaks to me, I believe God's messengers, the angels, speak to me and project what is God's message to us. I also believe I'm guided by my loved ones on the other side, and they give me information about what it is God expects from us here on the physical plane. One can also become aware of their inner soul and receive information from there, because the inner soul knows its purpose for being on the physical plane. We need only to keep an open mind and listen to our own intuition. We are all born with knowledge that is rarely tapped into. I truly believe this is why some human beings are extraordinary at certain skills and talents. What I mean by this is, I believe we reincarnate, and some people bring their talents and skills from past lives and into current life. This is probably why there are young children with talent or intelligence beyond their years. A lifetime may seem like a long time, but for a soul is only a moment in time. I believe we have all lived more than one life on the physical plane, forever learning to love and be peaceful until one day we become worthy of heaven. I'm going to stop with that. That was the first chapter of my book, Life is Just a Moment in Time. I also wrote a sequel to that, which is Life, You Can Do This. And this second book kind of gives a little more guidance on how to get past certain things, or how to deal with stuff, and what meaning of a lot of things that happen to us in life. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go to Amazon.com, put my name in the search engine, and any book that I've written will come up. The name is Patricia Giebel, Giebel. And if this video has helped you in any way, I appreciate a like and subscribe. And I do have a Facebook page where I do weekly free readings for those who attend, who are on my friend list. I do not open it to the public because I get too much craziness, I have to say. So the people that are on my page are more or less screened. If you don't behave, you get deleted. So I'm under Medium Patricia Giebel on Facebook. If anybody's interested, you can send me a message and a friend request. And every Wednesday night, usually around 7 o'clock, I do some free readings, which are random. I let those in spirit decide who's going to come through and who needs to hear from them. So thank you for listening, and I hope this helps somebody in some way. God bless.